For almost a century, physics has had this deep crack running right through the heart of it, a fundamental conflict between our two best ways of describing reality. Today, we're going to explore a pretty radical idea that suggests this conflict, well, maybe it isn't a problem we need to solve. Maybe it's the source of everything.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. The search for a single theory of everything has been the holy grail of modern physics for decades. But this whole idea, which is based on the work of Samuel Faict, asks this beautifully simple question. What if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if the clash is the whole point?
And here it is. This is the clash laid out for us. On one side, you've got general relativity. That's Einstein's beautiful theory of the really big stuff. It's a smooth, predictable cosmos of planets and galaxies. But on the other side, you have quantum mechanics, the super weird, probability-based rulebook for the tiny, tiny stuff. They're both amazing theories, but they totally contradict each other.
So let's start by looking at this division in a new way, not as a mistake in our math, but as the actual foundational principle of our entire universe.
And you know what's funny? This idea isn't even new. It actually goes way, way back to this ancient philosophical idea called dualism. Thinkers from Plato all the way to Descartes have kicked around the idea that reality is built on two opposing forces, like mind and matter, or spirit and form.
And this is where things get really interesting. This theory takes that old philosophical idea and gives it a modern physics makeover. It basically says that the spirit dimension is the quantum world, that realm of pure, fuzzy, probabilistic potential. And the matter dimension? Well, that's the world of general relativity, structured, solid, and actually here. Okay, so if reality is split in two, how does that division actually create anything? How does this fundamental tension give rise to all of this? This right here is the core idea. The fact that these two sets of rules just don't get along isn't a flaw in our understanding. No, it is the cosmic engine. It's the creative friction that literally sparks existence into being. So, how do you get a whole universe from this? From nothing? Well, the answer might be that the total energy of the universe is and always has been zero. Yeah, it sounds a little strange, but this is a real idea called the zero-energy universe hypothesis. It basically suggests that all the positive energy from all the stuff, matter and light, is perfectly canceled out by the negative energy of gravity. The universe didn't need some outside cause. It's just the ultimate ballast equation. Now, in this model, the Big Bang wasn't some random explosion happening in space. It was inevitable. It was the moment the system had to break. Think of it like a system under so much pressure that it just had to fracture. That fracture, that was the resolution of the clash between those two incompatible rule sets. That was the birth of space-time itself. The universe is the first great anomaly born from this conflict. So for billions and billions of years, the universe just unfolded. But then, on at least one little blue planet, a second, even more profound anomaly started to happen, born from that same ongoing clash. Life itself. Now, to really wrap our heads around this, we need to talk about a concept called emergence. It's the scientific principle that shows how a bunch of simple parts, following simple rules, can suddenly give rise to these incredibly complex, self-organizing systems. Like a flock of birds, a city, or even an economy. And that gives us a whole new way to look at life. It's not really a thing or a substance. It's a process. It's a dynamic, self-perpetuating pattern. Kind of like a tornado that's constantly pulling energy from that fundamental clash just to keep itself going. And what's wild is that modern biology actually supports this idea that the tornado is one single unified process. We have LUCA, the last universal common ancestor, which shows us that all life we know of comes from the same single-celled origin. And then there's the Gaia hypothesis, which suggests that all of life works together as one big self-regulating system for the whole planet. The implication is kind of mind-blowing. We aren't a bunch of separate lives, but participants in one continuous planetary process. So this is where this massive, cosmic story zooms all the way in and gets incredibly personal. Let's talk about your origin story and why it's so much bigger than you probably think. So, let me ask you directly, what did it take to make you? I mean, the simple answer is 2 parents, right? But that's just the very last tiny little step in an unbelievably long journey. The real answer is all of this. It took the entire 13.8 billion year history of the universe. It took that primordial clash of forces. It took ancient stars living and dying in massive explosions just to create the carbon in your cells and the iron in your blood. And it took a single unbroken chain of life stretching back for billions of years to get to this exact moment.
This isn't just poetry. This is a literal scientific fact. As a great Carl Sagan said, "You are star stuff. You are the matter of the cosmos, but organized in such a special way that it's become aware of itself."
So, if that's our origin story, then what's the point of it all? What's the purpose of this incredible multi-billion-year journey that leads from the Big Bang all the way to you, right now?
I mean, that's the ultimate question, right? And the answer this cosmology offers is, well, it's both really profound and surprisingly simple. It's not some grand divine plan written out in the stars.
The answer is in the experience itself. This quote just nails it perfectly. The entire cosmic saga, all of that creation and evolution, it all culminated in the ability for a conscious being to have a simple, mundane, beautiful experience.
Think about what that really means. You're not separate from the universe looking at it. You are the universe's way of looking at itself. Your consciousness is the tool through which the cosmos finally gets to taste, feel, and understand its own existence. And this brings us to the final, beautiful irony of it all. That pint at the pub, that moment of meditation, that walk in the woods, we so often use our conscious awareness to try and find a brief moment of peace from our conscious awareness. And that's not a bug, it's a feature. It's the ultimate expression of that primal tension that created us in the first place. And so we're left with this simple mandate, really, to live as the bridge between these two realms. To be fully here with our feet on the ground in our material world, but to never, ever forget the astronomical miracle that allows for this very moment. You are the place where the cosmology of the clash becomes conscious.